Well, we've got Tony Schmaltz with us today. How are you doing?
Doing wonderful, Toby. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's great to have you on. Did you know you're the first guest ever that we've had live on the show, so it's a little bit nerve-wracking for me.
I'll try not to make it hard on you.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, the delay is the main thing. Usually I can fix that in editing, but it's going to be a little bit hard.
We'll get through it.
Yeah. Now, you are the founder of the Be Schmaltzy movement. What is that? Because it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, so the Be Schmaltzy movement is about getting people out of their comfort zone. The term schmaltzy literally means to be overly sappy or cheesy, like a joke is cheesy. And so for most people, that doesn't come naturally. Most people have to get out of their comfort zone to be cheesy or sappy, and so that's what it's all about. The Be Schmaltzy movement is to get people out of their comfort zone and redefine themselves so they can find the success that they're really looking for.
Yeah, is it kind of based on your second name, or is that just a complete coincidence?
It's not. It is not a coincidence. It is based on my last name, my second name, and it actually goes back. The history behind this for me goes back to when I was 17 years old, more than 20 years ago.
Wow.
I spent some time in Germany, and I spent some time with some friends over there. And I guess I was the cheesiest guy in the whole place for the month that we were there. I was always trying to pick up girls with cheesy lines, and everyone started calling me Schmaltzy. And it wasn't until a year later that my friend in Germany told me what that actually meant. And so that just just a few months ago, I'd been a coach for a while, and a few months ago I had a dream about that time when I was in Germany. I'm like, there it is. Be Schmaltzy.
It's incredible, because I just thought it was just you'd added a Y to your second name, and then I looked up the word. Oh, it's a real thing. So, how do you...
It is a real thing.
And
a lot of people don't know that.
You can continue if you like. See, this is live interviews. This is how it goes. Okay, I'll continue then. So how do you actually be Schmaltzy then?
So the way that I help people be schmaltzy and get them out of their comfort zones is I assign schmaltzy tasks. If I'm coaching a client or a business owner, I assign schmaltzy tasks, and it's really small stuff, but it's stuff that's meant to make you uncomfortable in a good way, not threatening or anything. Like, for example, I usually start really small, like brush your teeth with your opposite hand or wipe your bum with your opposite hand. Most people are like, whoa, until they try it. They don't realize how tough that is. Yeah, and then we go from there. And then, as we get further along, I'll have some business person walk into work with a really loud shirt, like a bright fluorescent pink shirt or something like that. So it's just little things intended to get people out of their comfort zone. Because once you get out of your comfort zone, that's where real growth happens.
Yeah, it's a little bit strange then. It's just little things that you would never really think about, like brushing your teeth with your other hand. It's never crossed my mind to do that, but that could have such a big impact.
Yep. And I couple these along with, people who are trying to grow a business or something. I'll give them an actual business task. Like, here, you need to reach out to 10 prospects. However, before you do that, walk into a grocery store and start a conversation with 5 random people. And they're just like, what? I'm like, you gotta get uncomfortable before you're gonna grow.
Yeah, well, I think that would work a lot better in America. I feel like everyone's a lot more friendly over there. There's like, hey, how you doing? Whereas here, if you say good morning to someone, they think that you want something.
Well, you'd be surprised. I think it probably might take more effort to find those 5 people, but it would probably still work.
Yeah, maybe, I suppose. So, I mean, you've mentioned the basic things about brushing your teeth with the other hand, etc. Is there anything more extreme that you can do to be schmaltzy?
Not really, and so this breaks down depending on the person. So depending on who I'm working with, I dig into who they are and what makes them particularly uncomfortable. For some people, going up and talking to 5 strangers doesn't make them that uncomfortable. It just depends on who it is. Like, I've taken here's a good extreme example. I have asked somebody to go out and go bungee jumping.
Oh wow.
Or parasailing.
Is this
someone who's afraid of heights? Yeah. So it's like I try not to go to the extreme because I want people to get uncomfortable, but not like deathly scared.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to go to that extreme.
Yeah, that is just crazy. I mean, I kind of spend this show talking to random strangers, but at least it's organised and we have something to talk about. Because, I mean, if you go up to a random stranger in the supermarket or something, what are you supposed to say to them, really, without them thinking you're a weirdo?
You just let them know you're here to start a conversation. I'm here to meet new people. Hey, how's it going? I'm Tony. How you doing?
Yeah.
And then really, you will get the awkward look, and that's what makes it even more awkward. You have to break through that awkward. They're like, oh, what do you want?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wanted to meet you, see how you're doing. How's the grocery shopping going? What's your favorite sports team? I mean, it's really takes some effort. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But once you get through that, it makes a big difference.
That's the type of person, if somebody starts randomly talking to me in the train station or something and it's happened, I just kind of like pretend like, yeah, and then turn around and go, what? Who was that? Do they know me?
That's why I try to choose places that aren't as crowded, because like right now with everything going on, the grocery stores are not very crowded. So you can usually single somebody out where they got nowhere to go. I know that sounds kind of creepy, but I mean, but if you're in a crowd, you can get that look like you're talking about. You're like, what just happened here? You're looking around if other people see this.
Yeah.
Whereas it's more personal when you're one-on-one with somebody.
Is there any way to do it without being annoying? Because people always have stories about being sat on the plane for 9 hours next to somebody that won't stop talking and you just want to read a book.
Well, to the point, part of the reason for the Schmaltzy movement, Be Schmaltzy movement, is to stop being a people pleaser. So basically, who cares? Who cares? You are who you are. I am who I am. And if that means talking to random people, if they get annoyed, they get annoyed. That's their mental state, not yours.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you because a lot of people, their default would be to be a people pleaser, because I suppose that's being nice in a way. So how do you do it without just being selfish?
Well, there is a fine line, that's for sure. It's not the easiest thing in the world. But yeah, it really depends on what you really want. So once a person, and that's one of the things I work with clients, is try to find out who they really want to be and what they want to be. And then you can decide where it is appropriate to be not a people pleaser and where it is. For example, usually if you're married, you definitely want to be a people pleaser to your wife and to your kids, but not necessarily some other people out there.
Yeah. Now,
right.
You've actually started writing a book. I don't know if you've finished it yet, but it's called Be Schmaltzy. So tell us a little bit about that. Is it just a book on how to be schmaltzy?
That's it. And it's back to your question about how to come off and not be annoying. There's all kinds of sections, all kinds of chapters and sections within the chapters that break down how that can work. And so like anything, not everything's going to work for everyone, but this gives you an idea of breaking down, like, for example, one of the sections is to own you, the real you, and define who that is. Again, I am the king of sappiness and cheesiness, so that's why this is so fun. I mean, one of my chapters is called Holy New Awareness Batman. It's like, it's stuff like that. Beat your brain into submission. So just all kinds of stuff about changing the way you think about things and the way you see things. Whereas when you deal with the situation the way it is, and what is in any situation, we get our mind wrapped around it, and it's our thoughts that actually create what's going to happen next and what's happening. And if we sit there and just look at the fact of what's happening, what is, it's usually not as bad or even as good as we typically think. It's just what is.
Yeah. How long is this book? Because, you've got a few chapters. Is it got a lot of detail and length covered in it?
Oh, yes. No, you're talking about, let's see, I don't have the exact pages. I don't have it up in front of me, but we're talking about 12 chapters, and each chapter has 4 to 6 sections in it.
Wow, that's quite impressive. How long did it take you to write it then? Because I'm assuming if you'd already kind of got the movement idea in your head, did you just have to kind of put it into words and quicker than most authors?
Well, fortunately, I read enough myself, and I follow enough people where I had a little breakdown, and I've been kind of a writer most of my life, not necessarily books, but just more of a technical writer. So the first thing I did was just wrote out an outline. Here's the chapters I'm going to have. Here's the sections. I threw some away, brought some back together. But the actual writing part, once I had my sections figured out, that was easy. I could just sit down and write a chapter, just hack it out real quick. It's pretty easy for me. So right now I'm about 3/4 of the way done, and it's been about 2 months.
That's quite good then. So I'm not even going to bother doing the maths, but I guess that's less than a month you've got left.
Yes, correct. Yes, the expected completion date is by the end of this month, and then I have a publisher who's going to move really quick on the publishing process. So hopefully we're looking at late April for release.
Yeah, that's good. Nice coffee there, or whatever it is you're drinking. I don't know. So do you offer any other services other than the book? Are we able to find them online if we're interested?
Absolutely. So anybody who would like to know more about how they can work with me or some of the products and services I offer, they can go to TonySchmaltz.com. That's TonySchmaltz.com. And there's all kinds of links in there. There's all kinds of more information. Or if you want to get on the list to get updates on the book itself and when it's released, you can go to schmaltzybook.com and put in your email address, and then there'll be free. I'll be sending out free gifts, free updates, free training. There's all kinds of stuff that'll be handed out for free as well as updates for the book and first dibs on the release.
Oh wow, that's incredible. I mean, is it going to be released in proper physical form, or is it kind of a Kindle thing?
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's one of my pet peeves. I gotta have a hard copy. So, yeah. I mean, I'll probably we haven't. My publisher and I are discussing it. It'll probably end up having an audio version and a hard copy version. However, the hard copy will be the first release.
And are you narrating the audio book yourself?
The only way I would ever do it is doing it myself. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you've already got the microphone there to do it, so why not?
Right, exactly.
And it saves a lot of money, although I should have to hire someone.
Yes, I agree. I've looked into it. It's not cheap to hire a voiceover.
I am available.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming on the show today. And do you have a sequel to the book planned at all? Because I would be quite interested. I don't know if there would be anything else to cover.
I actually do, and the sequel it'll be a year down the line, I'm sure. However, the reason I do want to do a follow-up is because now that I'm starting to coach clients specifically around the Be Schmaltzy movement, I want to generate some more stories from clients to put into the next book. Whereas the current book is just stories from my history and how it's affected me.
Yeah.
Whereas the next one, I want to use more client stories and get that out to people.
Yeah, I mean, because when you're teaching people how to be schmaltzy, is there any issues trying to keep them schmaltzy?
Well, yes, there is, because I mean it's basically people on their honor system. I mean, you have to trust that they're doing what you're suggesting and the task that you give them. Yeah. In some cases, if I doubt somebody's doing one of them, I'll make them send me a picture. Like, hey, we've got coaching session this week, so before next session, I want you to go into work at least twice with a really loud shirt on, and I want you to make sure somebody takes a picture of you in your office with this bright pink or green shirt.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the person. Some people, they have the integrity. Other ones, you're like, yeah, you're not really going there, are you?
Yeah, I think do some people, some of your clients, some of their colleagues think they've gone a bit mad? Because I kind of imagine it like, I don't know if you've seen the film Yes Man, but that's what everybody would think that they're like.
I'm sure they do, and that's part of it. I mean, that's even when I was going into the office all the time, I started changing my attire from polo shirts to loud shirts with different funny sayings on it. And everyone's like, "What is going on with Tony?" And I'm like, "Hey, guess what? This is funny. I don't care."
Absolutely.
If it's not going to get you fired, it's not going to get you reprimanded. Who cares? You are who you are.
Well, can you just quickly remind us of the places we're able to check out the book and your services in 1 minute, starting now?
Absolutely. So you can go to TonySchmaltz.com. That's TonySchmaltz.com to find out more about me and how you can work with me. And then to get on the list for all the book updates, free gifts, free merchandise, go to schmaltzybook.com. schmaltzybook.com.
Nice.
Put in your email address, get on the list. All kinds of free stuff coming your way. All kinds of updates. Lots of fun.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today. It's been very interesting to talk to you all about this.
Thank you for having me, Toby. It's been a pleasure.